Dave Joe, once again pleased to be joined by UK Super Welterweight Inder Singh Bassi. How are you, Inder?
I'm very well, thank you. How you been?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good, mate. Happy New Year, first of all. So we'll talk about your most recent outing with Jack Martin.
Hmm.
Now, unfortunately, things never went your way. Uh,
Yeah,
you now, you lost your unbeaten record. It's
yeah,
early days yet, but
yeah.
how have you been taking that? How have you been
Um,
since that? Have you had time to analyse what went wrong and looking to
yeah,
go again when boxing resumes again, hopefully mid Feb?
yeah. I mean, like it's a bitter pill to swallow. Like I said, it was so early on in my career. It was a big fight that a lot of people, you know, whatever you do, there's always going to be people saying. Some people are going to say this. Some people are going to say that. It's a big fight. Some people say I shouldn't have taken it. Some people say, oh, it's good you've taken it. You can find out where you're standing, and I mean, but the thing is, I lost. It's a bit of a swallow, but I trained hard for it. I just feel like I might have taken it too easy. I didn't respect my opponent enough, but that goes to show, every time you step in the ring, you should always fight like it's your last fight. But yeah, definitely, I'll be back. But I'm back training. I've been training for a while now. So as soon as boxing's back on, shows are resumed. Hopefully, I'll be back out again.
Brilliant. I mean, looking back at the fight as well,
Yeah,
and speaking to you as well, it seems like you controlled it well at the beginning rounds, and then it was when your nose popped, wasn't it? You've never had
yeah,
that
yeah,
feeling before. What what was that like? I mean, your nose popped. Was that a case of that was when the emergency
yeah.
light started flashing on, and you thought, I'm going to try something different now, boxing wise? Or what were the coaches saying to you
Yeah.
when this was happening?
I mean, after this, so I've come back to the second round, and I felt like my nose was blocked. It felt heavy, like just here. And I thought, what the hell? I didn't really think, oh, shit, I broke my nose. It was like, I didn't know. I was like, imagine like all of a sudden you're breathing fine, all of a sudden it's like a big block and you just can't breathe through your nose and like your eyes start watering. And obviously, where I was in the heat of the moment, I just didn't even think about a broken nose. And my coach was saying, he goes, listen, just stick to your boxing, work behind your jab, keep light on your feet. But I think like where I just broke my nose and I was like, oh, listen, I want to fight now. I get into this mode sometimes where, like if I get caught or like I said, I broke my nose. I'm in this thing where I want to have a fight. I want to have a tear up. So I should have just stuck to my boxing. But like I said, there's a million things I could have done. I should have done, but I didn't. Um, it was an experience. It was a good experience, not a good experience, but it's an experience that I can learn from, and I've genuinely learned a lot from it. You know, I'm not just saying that because I took a loss and everybody says, "Oh, you have a winner, you learn." But I genuinely learned a lot from it, and I showed a lot as well. I showed a lot of heart, and I've showed people that I've got a chin, which I always knew myself. My coaches knew, but sometimes you have to prove things. But unfortunately, I had to prove it a bit too early on in my career. But I'll be back from it for sure, and hopefully get a rematch on. I'll have a couple fights and get a rematch on, and I can make it. I can show people how much of an easy night's work it is for me if I just stick to my boxing and mentally I'm prepared because that's a big thing. You can be the fittest person in the world, you can have done the most sparring, most everything, but if you're not mentally, you're not taking it serious, nothing's gonna happen.
I mean, I spoke to another young fighter as well who had an early loss in his career, William Webber,
Oh
signed Steve Goodwin Promotions as well.
yeah,
And he said exactly the same thing. He's taken an L early on in his career,
mm.
and some of the pressure has been lifted, and it will just make him a better fighter. Do you think
Yeah,
sometimes
definitely.
carrying an unbeaten record really early on, going into what some would call a 50-50 fight because he's never lost, you had never
Yeah,
lost,
yeah,
there is a bit of added pressure? Do you think that pressure
yeah,
is because someone
yeah,
has
it's
to lose?
lifted. Yeah, it definitely has. Like now my O's gone, it's like I can actually focus on stuff that matters now. You see a lot of these fighters nowadays, they've got like 10, 12, 13, 14, and they've never boxed anybody. I wouldn't want to do that either. I'm here not to just make a and build a fan base and a fabricated record. I'm here to actually do something. Um, so like the pressure's been lifted, but um, like it's how you come back from it, and I just can't wait to fight. Honestly, like just to prove things right and put things right, and just to prove everybody that, you know, I'll be back. I'll be back. You know, because this is where you can find out how much of a fighter and how much somebody really wants it, if they want it or not. Um, and hopefully we can find out. You know what I mean? It's early doors, so I've got a long time yet. It should. If some people say, like I said earlier on, some people said you shouldn't have taken a fight. Some people said it's good you did. Whatever anybody has to say, good or bad, you know, I'll take it with a pinch of salt and move forward and carry on moving forward.
Good stuff. Still super welters, what you'll be campaigning at, or is it a case of you want to go a bit higher, drop down to welter, or?
Um, to be honest, everyone's telling me to move down to what, because I make the weight so easy. Like I literally walk around less than half a stone, 2-3 kilos over the fight weight, which is like some people are that weight a day before the weigh-in. You know, they sweat it out and they're in the sauna or like hot bath. I'm walking around less than half a stone over my weight, so they're telling me to move down to whether I do or not. It remains to be seen. You know, I'd rather do it in the gym first, actually make water or like say half a kilo over water just to see how I feel. Um, but yeah, I might move down to water. I could stay at light middle. I'm not too sure. Just got to speak to my coaches and stuff and see what they say and see how it goes. You know, I mean, I'm young, so I could make water, but I might grow, not obviously in height wise, but like physically. So we have to wait and see. But everybody is telling me to move down to water.
Yeah, I think sometimes as well, you know, when you've got a whole team around you, that they're looking out for your best
Yeah,
interest, aren't they? To be fair.
yeah. I mean, my coach Kevin's saying um, I'm a big sort of like mid already as I am, you know, and I've got good. I can take a punch and I can hit. Um, he's telling me I won't. He's actually saying I won't make a welter. But he said, "Oh, you could make it. There's a difference between making a weight and actually being able to fight at the weight." But like, there are other people saying, you know what, you should try it. So like I said, I'm not too sure. I'm not fast. You know, I'd fight anybody. Like I've shown it. You know, my third fight I took on an unbeaten fighter. I'm not here to duck. I'm not scared. Fight comes, somebody offers it, and light middle or whatever it is, I'm ready. I'm game.
Yeah, I mean, Inder as well. What do you think caused the broken nose? Was it a clash of heads, or was it a headbutt, or?
Yeah, it was a clash of heads. Yeah, the referee he come up to me after the round and said, you know, clash of heads caused that on your nose. Um, he disguised it well and he made it look like I don't know. Listen, I'm not going to say he done it intentionally or whatever, but
Hmm.
I've boxed in the amateurs and he cut my eye in the amateurs, and in this fight he's broke my nose. But it is
You
what it is.
fought
And
him in the amateurs as well. Then you've actually.
yeah, I boxed in the amateurs and he actually cut my eye. So this was like my second senior fight. So I was only about 18 at the time. They had to stop the fight, and I boxed him again many years later as a pro, and he broke my nose.
Well, hopefully you guys get the rematch.
Yeah,
Um,
it'd be a good rematch.
I mean, in regards to British boxing border control, the same mid-February, as I mentioned
Yeah.
a bit earlier on, and hopefully, you know, fights do resume, all being well. Um, Putting the rematch to a side, when do you think you'll be out? And what's the plan for you and your team?
Yeah.
When are you more than likely out in action again?
I mean, realistically, probably be like March, April time.
Hmm.
So I'm in the gym now. I'm working hard. You know, as soon as the phone rings, you know, I've spoken to Lee. March, April time, they said hopefully, you know, given all things go to plan with this whole coronavirus stuff, I'll be looking to get out and keep active. You know what I mean? I want to keep active. I want to be fine. I don't want to just sit at home. Do you know what I mean?
No, absolutely, absolutely. Because again, as well, we've spoken to quite a few fighters who just waiting for that phone to ring. Some people have turned pro and haven't had a fight yet, so they turned pro last year, and because of
Oh yeah. There's a few people. Yeah,
yeah, you probably know. Yeah, you probably know quite a few as well. Some good.
one of my stablemates, he was meant to be boxing Charlie Wise, but he just hasn't been able to box because of obviously coronavirus, and I think he's um the meeting with the board and everything just keeps getting postponed and stuff. So sure, everyone's kind of in the same boat. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and you know, Danny Darko put in a good performance against Harlem
Yeah, I
Eubank.
mean, it wasn't the darker that I knew, or you know, the darker that I've seen spar and the stuff he does. But you know, it maybe might have just been one of those days. You know, in the office, you know, you have a bad day, but he'll be back there. I mean, and that was like 20% of the Danny Darko that I know I've seen myself. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, sometimes you learn a good tough lesson and you come back at much better.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was a fight that some builders again and
Yeah,
another 50-50, both unbeaten
yeah,
fighters going in and putting the O on the line, and that's I
that's
think
right.
as well looking at it from some of the MTK sort of shows that have been put on, they have been
Yeah,
very much 50-50, haven't they, in terms of unbeaten versus unbeaten throughout last year
yeah,
as well.
definitely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, most of MTK's like, you know, fights have been 50-50, you know, whereas a lot of these other big promoters, they claim to have done 50-50, but on paper they're really not. But MTK have done a very good job. Do you know what I mean? Every single one of those shows, you know, I think they've done 5 or 6. I think I can't remember exactly. They was all really popular, and they had genuine 50-50 fights, and that were good for people to watch and good for the fighters to actually bring them on and find out where they are, where they're at.
100%. I mean, looking at the world level of your division, hopefully you do stay at super welter. I mean, there's loads of names at welterweight as well. To be fair,
Yeah, yeah.
a super welterweight that's been on the rise. I don't know if
Mm.
you've been paying too much attention. Was Tim Tszyu. 2 great victories in 2020. He's catapulted up the rankings as well. Have you been keeping attention to?
No, I haven't really. Not, I can't lie. I haven't really been keeping a close eye on him.
So son of Costa Tszyu,
Yeah.
again on the rise as well. Definitely worth watching. And also another chap that you know relatively well as well, Hamza
Yeah,
Shearer
Hamza's
as
doing
well.
well. Yeah, he's doing well. He's doing very well.
He's doing really
Hamza
well
is
as well
doing
with
well.
a new team behind you. So there's loads of talented people out there, isn't there? And they're at super welter,
Yeah, I
loads
mean,
of names out there.
boxing's massive right now. You know, like locally, nationally, and worldwide. So, um, it's exciting times. You know, I mean, the thought of, you know, some of the fights that I could be involved in, the things that I could do, it excites me. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, when the time comes, like I said, everything's timing. When the time's right, you know, I'll be mixing it in with all those big names that you mentioned, hopefully, and, you know, being for some big fights.
Yeah, you definitely need a crowd with you as well because you definitely sell a ticket or two.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I sell the tickets, but a good fighter shouldn't really. I mean, but at the end of the day, listen, I box as a an amateur, best venues in the country to some of the worst venues. So as a fighter, it shouldn't really um, affect you. You know, if there's 10 people there or 10,000 people there, but it does make a difference sometimes. You know what I mean? Sometimes it could liven you up more. You know, when you've got all people watching and you're under pressure a bit more, it might wake you up a bit. Sometimes some people might do the opposite. So I do enjoy fighting with a crowd, but I don't mind if there's no one there as well. Honestly, if for the rest of my life, if they say to me, you don't have to sell a ticket. You can box first on every single show. You know, even if you're a world title fight, you can box first and get there as soon as possible and get out. I would do it, mate. Honestly, I wouldn't mind fighting. It's a job. Do you know what I mean? I don't mind if there was one person there or, like I said, 10,000 people. I've got to go in there, do my job, and that's it.
What sort of fights are you looking forward to watching yourself this year as well as a spectator? Because we've had quite a few announced, haven't we, as well?
Yeah, I think Joshua Fury. I don't know if it didn't get announced, but they said between, like, they've agreed a deal springtime. I mean, I don't know if it's true or false,
Yeah.
but that's definitely a fight I'm interested in watching. Conor
I lost you
Oh
there
yeah,
for a
sorry.
second. You're back now.
Yeah, yeah, I'm back. Yeah, Conor Ben's got a good fight coming up.
Yes.
Um, I mean, local, you got Ted Cheeseman. He's also got a good fight. You know, but fighting back for his British title. Um, his name was Scotsman. His name's gone up. No, Richie Walsh. Oh
Frampton,
mate, what's it? No,
Josh Taylor.
Josh Taylor. Yeah, Josh Taylor's got a tough fight. Um, I mean, there's a lot of good fights coming up, you know, and obviously there's probably going to be more with this once this whole coronavirus thing settles down a bit. I'm interested in seeing like the 4 lightweights from America, see what they do as well. You know, like the Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney and Garcia. You know, if they fight each other, when they fight, they'd be very good fights too. But
Yeah.
I do think Lopez beats all of them.
What's that? Sorry.
I think Lopez beats all of them.
Oh, okay, okay. That'll be yeah, yeah. I mean, look, he put in a good show against uh,
Lomachenko.
Lomachenko. That was a what some people called a bit of a shock. It's fair to say
Yeah,
also that Lomachenko took the fight. Was it rounds from 7? Wasn't it? He started coming
yeah.
out a
It
little bit more.
started coming out. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, started off a bit slow maybe, but
yeah.
then they're saying there was a bit of an injury as well. So
Yeah,
as at the minute, it's hot, isn't he? He is the one, and it'd be
yeah.
interesting
He is.
to see if the fight with him and Josh Taylor can be made. If if the
Can be made, yeah. There's
weight
loads of good fights out there, that can be made. It's just whether or not they do. There's a lot more involved. You know what I mean?
100%. Inder, just before we let you go, just give a shout out where people can follow you in your journey, and you know,
Yeah, definitely. So myself, I'm only on Instagram, Inder Bassi _. Give me a follow, guys. It's a lot of people don't realize that, but our social medias and what we put on, it's part of our job, if that makes sense. Like
mm-hmm.
Ryan Garcia, for example, a lot of the general public don't actually know, like his followers, should I say. He's got 8 million followers, but it's because he's like a bit of a Instagram celebrity. Obviously as a fighter, we know him as a fighter, but it's part of our job and it gets you fights, and that's the sport we're in. We're entertainers.
Right, good stuff. Good stuff. And make sure you let us know when you're fighting next and when you're out as well.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully, as soon as I find out, March, April time, like I said, but just waiting for a date, waiting for a phone call, and I'll be out ready to rock and roll.
Good stuff. Thank you very much from the Boxing Voice.
Thank you guys too.
So if you enjoyed the video, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and share. As always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive from Border Wars, Entitled, betting shows, the list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.